Hank Zipzer, chapters 8 through 10. Hank has just won the trip for his parents. I covered the phone with my hand and whispered to my dad, "Give me a second, Dad, and we'll get you the answer you're looking for, I promise." My dad wasn't getting the clue that I wanted him to leave. "Robert," he said, "you're usually full of information. Any ideas?" "Actually, Mr. Zipzer, my special knowledge is in the reptile world rather than the rodent world. Although I once did a book report on the life cycle of the black-tailed prairie dog and found it quite fascinating," he replied. "Yeah, Dad," I said, trying to edge him toward the door. "Robert's a snake iguana kind of guy, not a mouse rat gerbil kind of guy." Boy, did I want to get my dad out of there. We needed to finish the arrangements with Cousin Ralphie, and I didn't want my dad hearing about the concert until I had the whole plan figured out. I motioned to Frankie and with my eyes, but he wasn't getting it. I motioned with my head, but he still wasn't getting it. "Hello?" I whispered. "Ding dong, anyone home?" Frankie looked puzzled. Finally, I jerked my thumb toward the door. I gestured toward the living room, then toward my dad. "I think you might find the word he's looking for in the living room," I said. "You know, that room over there. That one where I'm not talking on the phone?" "Right," Ashley said. "Right," I said. Frankie nodded. At last, he was with the program. He's usually good at picking stuff right up. "Come on, Mr. Z," he said. "Let's go into the living room. I always find that synonyms for rodents come to me a lot faster out there." "Maybe it's because the ceilings are higher," I threw in. "Yeah," said Frankie. "There's more oxygen floating around. It's better for the brain." Before my dad could answer, Frankie and Ashley had him by the arm and were escorting him back to the living room. Robert laughed his snooty little nerd laugh, which sounds like the noise my dog Cheerio makes when he has a cold. "More oxygen in the living room," he snorted. "Actually, Hank, everyone knows that the number of oxygen..." Oh, that's little Robert, I think, so I better change my voice. "More oxygen in the living room?" he snorted. "Actually, Hank, everyone knows that the number of oxygen molecules per cubic foot varies according to the density of the atmosphere, not the height of the ceilings." "That's so interesting, Robert. I think you should go see if that theory works in your apartment like now." "But what about Catherine?" he said. "She needs me." "You're absolutely right," I agreed. "Catherine needs you to leave the room. Bye-bye, little man." I basically shoved Robert out the door, which is easy to do because his bony little self doesn't weigh much more than a pocket rat soaking wet. Come to think of it, he looks like a rat soaking wet, except without a tail. I put the phone receiver back to my ear. "Are you still with me? Are you still with me, caller number 15? Cousin Ralphie said. "What is your name again?" "Hank Zipzer," I answered. "That's a WFUN kind of name," he said. "Zippy, but not zippified." I laughed. Cousin Ralphie was always so funny and full of words. It must be amazing to have words on the tip of your tongue like that, to never have to search for a thought. Me, I'm always looking for the next word, the right word, any word. My brain isn't smooth like that. It's more like a dark, rocky cave with words and thoughts hiding behind every boulder. And I'm in there searching around without a flashlight. Hank Zipzer, here's what you've won for that parental unit. They'll be picked up by limousine and driven in style to Philadelphia. They'll get the red carpet treatment backstage at the Theater of Brotherly Love as they arrive for the Stone Cold Rock concert. Wow, that sounded great. I wish I was going. At the concert, they'll be treated to front row seats, after which they'll join the band for Philadelphia cheesesteaks, the city's most famous sandwich. My mouth was watering. I could almost taste that cheesesteak. The next day, they'll ride back to New York City in luxury on the fully stocked band bus. And by the way, if they're into tattoos, we'll make a stop at our favorite tattoo artist, who will give them any design of their choice on any part of their body. How's that sound? Do they have to do the tattoo part? I asked. My dad passes out when he has to get a flu shot at the doctor's office. Cousin Ralphie laughed. You're the funny dude, Hank, he said. Real zipperific. Cousin Ralphie took my phone number and told me someone would call later to make all the arrangements. I thanked him about 158 times. He thought I was just thanking him for winning the trip, but I was really thanking him for making it possible for me to go on to the 5th grade. I hung up the phone and let out a big sigh of relief. For a split second, I had that wonderful floating feeling you get when all your problems are solved. But that feeling only lasted for a second, maybe even less, because right away I realized that problem number 2 was waiting for me in the living room. There was my dad sitting in his blue boxer shorts, chewing on his mechanical pencil, hunched over his crossword puzzle, trying to come up with a synonym for an extinct rodent. How on earth was I going to convince him that he really, 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 really couldn't live without going to see a Stone Cold Rock concert? This wasn't going to be easy. Chapter 9, another reasons page. 10 reasons I could get my dad to make him want to go to the concert. Number 1, you could be in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the oldest person to attend the rock concert. Number 2, you could be in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most uncool person to ever attend the rock concert. Number 3, you could be in the Guinness Book of World Records for being listed twice in the Guinness Book of World Records. Number 4, you could see a rock concert and the Liberty Bell and Benjamin Franklin's grave all in the same day. Number 5, you could get a tattoo of a crossword puzzle on your upper arm muscle. Oops, he doesn't have an upper arm muscle. Number 6, you could get your mojo working. I don't know if that counts because I have no idea what mojo is. Number 7, you could bring back a whole bunch of souvenirs for Emily and me. That would make you feel so good. You always say it's better to give than to receive. Number 8, you could have a great time. Okay, it's not likely, but the point is it could happen. And number 9, see below. Hank's note. Sorry, all I could come up with were 8 reasons. So get a pencil, go up to the top of this chapter, cross out the word 10, and write down the word 8, unless this is a library book. You never write in a library book. I made that mistake once and had to spend my next 3 weeks' allowance replacing the book. Chapter 10. I had my list. I had my work cut out for me. I told Ashley and Frankie to wait in my bedroom, and I marched myself into the living room. I stood in front of my dad and looked him right in the face. I told him about the concert and how I won the trip to Philadelphia for Mom and him. I told him how totally great it was, how there were people in any city in the world who would kill to have those tickets. Then I recited all the reasons on my list of why he should go. Correction. I didn't just recite the reasons. Nope, I acted them out like I was auditioning to star in a Spider-Man movie with feeling, with guts, with all my heart. My dad sat there and listened to me. He nodded thoughtfully. If you just looked at him, his head was going up and down, a little smile curling up at the corner of his mouth, his chin resting calmly on his hand. You'd be 100% sure you were going to be seeing a yes. But if you opened your ears and listened, you would have heard him say one of the smallest words in the English language that goes a little something like this. No. I wonder what Hank will try next. Will he get his parents to the concert? Will he pass fourth grade? Come back tomorrow.